What's good, everybody? Updated home gym tour. So I've made quite a few changes. I think the base to the gym is pretty similar to the last video I made. I want to say it was around May, but I've had a few smaller upgrades in terms of smaller things like maybe these little safety straps that I got for the rack. I did make one big purchase that is a big addition to the gym. So I've been kind of leaning towards making one of these videos at some point anyways, and then yesterday, I had a great opportunity to make an upgrade to the gym, and sure enough, I did that, so I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, let me give you a quick tour of the gym. I want to show you guys around, show you kind of just what I have, why I use it, and give you some inspiration to make your own home gym. So right here, leg extension and hamstring curl combo. This is most likely going to be sold. It's pretty low quality. I just got it used on Facebook Marketplace for a decent price. So this is probably not going to make the cut to actually make it into the gym, as you can tell by the difference in the flooring. So this will most likely be sold. I'm not positive, but most likely. Over here, this is a new decline bench that I didn't necessarily want, but it came with a piece of equipment that I recently got. The guy gave it to me for free with it. So I actually tried it out for decline setups, and it feels great. So I do plan on keeping that. I just don't really have much of a spot for it. Over here, you've got the Titan Fitness standalone cable tower. This thing is, quality-wise, it's pretty average, maybe slightly above average. It's lasted me a year and a half or so at this point, and I absolutely love it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I got it for, I want to say around $200 or something. And for the small amount of space it takes up, it's probably 3-4 square feet. It's kind of hard not to get something like this. So this is probably the most underrated piece of equipment for home gym owners. Very cheap, does not take up much space. The only downside is just a pain in the ass to put together. It probably took me 2 or 3 hours. There's just so many little parts to it. But I do a lot of stuff on here, particularly for triceps. It's a really good option. You can also get some good lat training with some single arm stuff, as well as some cable bicep training too. This is one of the bigger upgrades I've made in recent times. So actually first, Rogue Band. This is nice for the little hack squat machine that I'll get to later. Up here you can see my mag grips and then the regular lat pull down grip. I got a few of those just kind of lying around, but let's tune out my ADHD and get back to what I was talking about. So over here, what you're going to see is the Olympic dumbbell set. And this is one of my favorite pieces of the gym. These are the 20-inch handles from Titan Fitness. So these are insanely underrated. It's $100 to get both, to get a pair. So for both handles, it's $100. The quality is incredible. I've been using these for a year and a half or so at this point, and like I just can't wrap my head around how much more expensive every other brand is. Are these as good as Rogue? Probably not, but they're almost comparable, especially for the price. It's highly recommend for home gyms. And then I finally got all of my 10-pound plates. So I got 16 10-pound plates, 4 2.5s, and then 4 5s. So you'll see the rest of the 5s and the 10s on these handles over here. I also got 2 pairs of these Rogue OSO collars. These are incredible. They're definitely a little bit more expensive, but it's something that you're going to have forever. And when you're using an Olympic dumbbell like this, you want something that's high quality. So if you're doing a French press or even some type of dumbbell press or even a curl where the dumbbells are twisting and moving around, especially with heavy weights, you do not want those to fall off on you. It's something that you should invest some money into. So I went with Rogue for these. Strong recommend, and they're also pretty minimalistic in terms of size too, so they're not going to be sticking out like a big clamp or a big collar that's digging into your leg when you're doing some kicks for your dumbbell presses and whatnot. So highly recommend. These plates, I can't remember the name of them, but they were super cheap. I could get a 4-pack of 10 for like $60 or $55, somewhere around that. So I think it was $250 for all of this weight here, where it goes up to, I want to say it's 110 pounds for a pair. Another thing, this beautiful piece right in the middle, this is the Bells of Steel Easy Curl Bar. It's their industrial bar. So I personally like a kind of a milder, less concave bend in my Easy Bars. I think when it's too bent, my brachialis and my forearms start to take over, so I'm doing bicep curls. This thing just feels incredible. It's a pretty aggressive knurl. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10 in terms of aggressiveness. So it's right in that sweet spot for curls. You don't need anything that's like cutting your hands up for something like an isolation lift. But knurl is very important for curls, and that's a big reason why a lot of people feel their curls too much in their forearms, which is a video for another day, probably coming soon. So the whole dumbbell and easy bar setup over here, I like the setup spot. I think it's cool. The only thing I do want to add to this is just a stand for the dumbbells so they're a little bit easier to load. Next to this is my lat pull down seated cable row combo. So I got the lat pull down set up now with the moderately wide just outside shoulder width mag grip setup. This thing I got off of the marketplace back in 2021 when I first started the gym. This is probably the second or third piece I got. It's not the highest of quality, but it gets the job done. It works really well. I don't need anything fancy. So this does well. I do a lot of lat pull downs. Cable row gets used every now and then, but not too often. I'm more of a lat pull down guy for sure. So the amount of variety that this thing offers with the grips too, like there's 5 different types of pull downs I can do, 5+ different types of rows I can do. My video just cut off. I accidentally swiped on the notification center on my phone, of course. So lat pull down, it's great. Tons of variety, gets the job done. Easy to load weights on and off real quick. It's lightweight too, and there's no weight on it. So nothing special in terms of quality, but it gets the job done, and I love it. So over here you got the Home Depot bucket where I store out at just one of my mag grips. Now I got another in here that I should probably organize, but other than that, I got a dip belt in here, which is great for pull-ups and dips. A couple more attachments, some straps, and then I have these lifting hooks, which it's another new piece I got. I don't use them at all. It's not because they're not good. I just haven't really needed them at all. I probably will give them another try in the future, but as far as stuff like rack pulls, power shrugs, stuff like that, you don't want to go too heavy with them because it just pulls on your wrists extremely hard. They're not flush with your hands and your wrists like a normal strap. They kind of wrap around almost like a bracelet. So with lighter weight stuff or moderate weight stuff, they're probably fine, but that's something I can't speak on too much until I actually try them out for a bit. This is one of the bigger pieces I have. So this is a PowerTech. I want to say it's called the multi-press. I can't really remember exactly what it's called, but this is just another good thing that I found on Facebook Marketplace. It's basically an adjustable bench. So it goes flat, incline, decline. It even goes all the way up to vertical, so you can do shoulder presses and whatnot. As you know, I prefer to do my shoulder presses without back support. So the adjustment shop is over here, where you can just pull that pin out and adjust it so the levers sit at a different height. Stuff like this is super versatile for a home gym. Any type of lever that is adjustable, it's going to be pretty useful. Like certain hammer strength machines and whatnot, they're great, but they're better for a commercial gym, obviously, because they have one function. Something like this, it's the function for each lift might not be quite as good because it's a jack of all trades, but in general, it is worth it because you can do so many different things and you're still getting probably 80% of what that hammer strength machine would be. So let's do this. Let's move on to the big piece that I just got. So I got a massive Smith machine. This is just a steel off of Facebook Marketplace that I found yesterday. I've kind of been keeping my eye out for one for a while, but I did not think I would find one. It actually doesn't even fit in my basement. It pushes up my ghetto ceilings a little bit, so it's probably 4 inches too tall for the actual gym. If you look at it, you can see it goes up between the rafters. So I've only used this once, so I don't have a whole ton of feedback right now, but the quality is really good. It's a commercial grade, it's not a home gym, so if you're looking at the rest of my gym, you can kind of see this is clearly much bigger and I guess more built like a commercial gym machine than some of this home stuff over here. So this thing is a beauty. I love it. It gives me more plate storage too, which I've desperately needed. And I think with that combined into the Smith machine, it just makes so much more use of a big machine like this. So the reason I got this is just 1, for experimentation, and 2, just for a lot more variety. So in terms of squat variations, split squat variations, even simpler stuff like a JM press, or just regular presses like an incline or a flat bench, stuff like that, this thing's great for, to really push close to failure and just get more volume that I'll need on top of what I'm doing for free weights with dumbbells and dips and stuff like that. So I don't have a whole ton of feedback yet, other than this machine is high quality. It's a beauty, and I'm lucky to be able to find such a good deal yesterday. I'm very lucky to have that. Let's move on to the power rack. So over here, it's the same rack that I've had since last year. I've made a couple changes to it. So first is going to be these lever arms. Here's that second pair of the Rogue OSO collars. So these lever arms, I got them for one use. It's just for power shrugs. I don't see myself using them for anything else because they're just not practical. This lever gym over here or the Smith machine would be much more beneficial, or even just using a landmine, which would be relatively similar aside from those lateral movements. So if you're a power shrug enthusiast, go for it with the lever arms. If you're looking to get these to use them as like a replacement for a hammer strength machine or something like that, I don't recommend them. They're a little bit too expensive and a little bit too one-dimensional to get. Unless you're a power shrug enthusiast, I don't see a whole ton of benefit in them. When it comes to the rack itself, I got these safety straps as well. So I have the pins. Obviously, these are completely useless, but underneath these straps, this is just for storage. So the straps are great. These are rack silencers, as I call them. So if you're doing rack pulls or something where you're just resting the bar down at knee level or whatever, whether it's a curl or an upright row or something, easy to just drop it down and be quiet. Miss Basement is in a deep sleep when I'm lifting bright and early in the morning, so anything to keep the gym quiet. This was worth the $80 or $100 or whatever they were. Up here, you have my shitty barbell. Obviously, I'm not deadlifting or squatting a whole ton of weight anymore. If I ever do get back into that kind of stuff, I would definitely upgrade my barbell. This should be good to work for a while. I've done power shrugs and whatnot with a little over 300 pounds on this, and it's been totally fine. So I'm not totally worried about it. It's good enough to do most lifts on, but if I ever do start to go heavy again, which is pretty unlikely, at least with these barbell lifts, I would probably upgrade. So let's see. I think that's pretty much it for the rack. This is a Titan T2 short rack, by the way. Very good deal, high quality rack, and it is short, so it actually fits in my 7-foot ceiling basement. I absolutely love it. It was easy to put together. It's a good price. Oh yeah, last thing for the rack, the multi-grip pull-up bar. I'm going to try and get a angle where you can actually see it, but it's kind of tough. So as you can see, I actually put this on backwards so I could get a supinated 45-degree grip, because I probably wasn't going to use the pronated. If I'm doing pronated, I'm just going overhand. But this small neutral grip right here is incredible. I love it. And then you have the angles down on the sides for the wider grip as well, and it's great. Last piece on the rack are these squat wedges. These are great. I know they kind of blend in with the floor right now, but they're about, I want to say they're a 20-degree angle, if I remember correctly, for plat squats, stuff like that. These will blow up your quads. Don't overlook them. It's the smallest little thing that makes the biggest difference. It's stuff like this that makes a big difference in activating certain muscles and optimizing certain leverages. Over here, Titan Fitness Dip Station. I got this for, it was like 45 or $50. I got it as a temporary piece, and I actually like it so much that I've kept it for almost 2 years now. So I've been using this religiously for dips. I took dips out of my program like 2 weeks ago, but other than that, I've been doing them at least once a week for almost 2 years. And as shitty as this thing looks, it actually works pretty well. Behind this dip station, also the nice thing about this is you can move it wherever you want. Super lightweight, so if you need to like go tuck it away in the corner or move it to another part of your gym, it is worth it. So I prefer these to the rack-mounted dip stations. It's also cheap, and like I said, it's very lightweight. Over here, you might be wondering what these are. I know it's a little dark. These are deadlift blocks. So this piece up here goes over the loading spot on the barbell, and it lifts the barbell up. So as you can see, there's a pin. Actually, you probably can't see because it's pitch black down here, but there's a pin with a bunch of holes so you can adjust the height. So you can essentially do block pulls without needing blocks. It just attaches to the barbell itself. The reason why I have these is for power shrugs or the lever arms. So when these lever arms are down and on the ground, the height that these grips sit at is the exact height of a regular deadlift. As you know, with power shrugs, the goal is to go pretty heavy, and you don't want to be limited to what you can pull off the floor to get into a power shrug. When you're doing a power shrug, you want to do something more like a just below the knee rack pull to get the weight up, so you can actually use a decent amount more weight to power shrug with. You don't want to be limited by what you can conventionally deadlift. Over here, you're going to see this, I think it's Body Solid machine row. This thing is, the quality's moderate. I mean, it's fine for a home gym. It's nothing special, and it will get the job done. The reason why I have this piece is because of the way it's designed. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to zoom out enough, but you can see it's on a hinge, and the weight loads up here. The handles are up here, so as you pull, the weight goes less and less against gravity. It perfectly matches the strength curve of your back naturally, especially for myself. I have a very weak lockout and I'm very strong in the stretch position, so this fits my strengths and weaknesses, and in terms of hypertrophy training, it matches the tension curve of your back. It's a great machine, and this almost resembles what the hammer strength machines are engineered to do, but I got it for a decent price off of Facebook Marketplace. I probably overpaid a little bit for it, but it's gotten good use. And to my knowledge, that would be the last piece aside from this. This is the PowerTech, I want to say it's called the leg sled or something like that. I don't like remember all the names of these machines and whatnot, but it's basically an inverted leg press. It makes it a little bit more compact. It doesn't take up a whole ton of space too. This machine is great. To get it new is stupidly expensive. I got mine used, so that's fine, and I got to save a little money there. I honestly wouldn't recommend getting it new because of how expensive it is. I would say just get a Smith machine or something else. I think new it's like $1,200 or so, which is insane. Obviously, it's a high quality kind of fancy machine, so that's expected, but I just don't think it's quite necessary for that price. I'd get something that's more versatile. So the one piece of versatility this does have is it does have a calf block down here, which you can insert over there. The downside to this is there's limited range of motion, because when you're already extended with your legs and you're raising up on your ankles with a calf raise, you can start to hit the back and you might not have enough range of motion. I'm not that tall either, and even I'm starting to run out of range of motion with this. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", and even I have a hard time with that. So I don't know. It's a great machine for the purpose that it serves, but for most people, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But I feel like I've kind of talked down about this machine, and I haven't given it its credit that it deserves. This thing's given me some incredible gains. It's essentially a leg press, so you guys know how this works. And I do love it, so I do love it. I do want to show it some love. And that's pretty much it for the gym. So obviously, you can see everything down this way. And let me step through so I can show you the other side. Power rack, leg press in the back, machine row dips, and the beautiful centerpiece that I just got, the Smith. So that's pretty much it for the gym. Thanks, guys, for watching. I will see you probably within a few days.